after the blue. We're in Italy for round 3 of the BiS Formula 3 Championship, racing at the legendary Autodromo Enzo Idadino Ferrari, better known as Imola. Morris arrives with a perfect record, 6 wins from 6 starts, a large gap, but it isn't over by any means. Milwane's consistency keeps him firmly in the fight, while LeVay set the pace in practice and looks ready to challenge. Imola is tight, technical and unforgiving. The curves will bite and one mistake can end it all. This circuit demands precision and bravery in equal measure. The season is still young, but momentum is everything. Can Morris extend his streak, or will Imola finally tip the balance? Tonight, it's Imola. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to Pit Road Productions for the BiS Formula 3 Championship. A huge warm welcome to you. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is the one and only Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, and at the production controls, the one and only Mr. Christian Hill. Reese, why don't you take us a little bit here through the schedule?
Yeah, honestly, Zippy, we've had a really good schedule so far in this championship, and it just keeps getting better. Now we're here at Imola, of course, for round 3. As you can see, Clay Morris has won every single race so far, both at Mosport and at Thruxton. We go to Bathurst for the next round on the 3rd of September, then Spa and Jerez to round off the season. There's going to be 3 races on tap tonight, 2 15-minute sprints and a longer feature race to close out the night, including a mandatory pit stop, open qualifying, standing starts, no cautions, 1 fast repair per race. Grid for race 1 set from qualifying, race 2 from the results from race 1, and the feature's going to mix it up with a top 10 grid reversal and pit strategy coming into play. Every lap matters and every point counts. It is time, of course, for checking out this particular circuit here. Welcome to Imola. History, passion, and a pure challenge. This is one of the most iconic circuits in the world, where precision over the curbs can make or break a lap. A fast run down through the Tamburello chicane. A thrill if done right, but ruthless if you get it wrong. From there, it's straight into the Variante Villeneuve, sharp and aggressive, where the curbs will punish the greedy at turns 5 and 6. Turn 7, the technical Tosa hairpin, demands patience on the throttle before the climb through Piratella, a sweeping left-hander that tests balance and commitment. Acqua Minerale at 11 and 12 follows. Heavy braking downhill, then a launch back uphill where traction is everything. The lap builds to turns 14 and 15 at Variante Alta, one of the trickiest chicanes in racing, where riding the curbs just right is the only way to stay fast. Then it's full commitment through Rivazza, the double left that funnels you back onto the main straight. Imola is tight, twisty, and treacherous. Every corner asks a question, every mistake is costly, and only those who master the rhythm of the circuit can win here. In Formula 3 cars, Zippy, it is a battle of control, courage, and absolute precision.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there by our very own Reese Gardner. And while we're thinking about this, let's take a quick look here at the points, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick peek here. As we know, Clay Morris has been an absolute weapon. He's there with 329 points, a huge lead there. Austin Milwane there in second with Andrew Harbour not far behind in third. But if we have a look a little bit further down the standings, the action gets even closer, ladies and gentlemen. Just 10 points in it between Broomhead and Scarelli, both on the same team. Nikada Bev, he's got a nice stable place there in P6, but looking a bit further down as well. Having a look there between Richard Swindales and P12. So they go high in for Lima Racing there, P13. Just 2 points between them. Absolutely fantastic competition here. And you can see even further down the grid as well, Connor Janice and Graham Love tied with 20 points. Fantastic competition here at the BiS Formula 3 Drivers' Championship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this I think Morris is running away with it a little bit, but second on back, there's always something to race for. It seems that Morris has, I think what's defined his season so far is rising above the chaos, because behind him, there's always been some kind of crazy action. The team points have Radical Britannia Racing on 380 points, with Doppler Britannia iSports in second place. The two Britannia teams locking out that top spot, with MTC Motorsports and Rust Racing rounding out your top four. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes out for how those are going to change. There's only 6 points between MTC and Britannia iSports, so now it is time to bring us through the race details, Zippy.
Well, absolutely fantastic. So as you see there, race 1 is going to be 10 laps set by qualifying. Race 2, 10 laps, but with the race 1 result set in the grid, with the feature race being 16 laps with a mandatory pit stop, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be standing starts with 1 fast repair per race. No full course yellow for fuel limited for the feature race. And incident points indeed will be important tonight, with 15 to the penalty and 30 to the DQ. So certainly drivers are going to want to be very careful with those off tracks this evening.
Oh, they absolutely will. And Imola's an old school circuit, so it's very easy to get off tracks around here. There's grass and gravel lining the racetrack most of the way around. Very sparing when it comes to the tarmac runoffs. Of course, they're running fixed setups, so the only thing that they can adjust in the car is brake bias. But I think you're going to need it as time goes on around here. Lots of heavy braking zones, lots of corners that require loads of rotation through those corners, Zippy. Qualifying is just about over, and it looks like we're about to get ready for the race 1 grid.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Certainly this one is indeed on the Princess approved list. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never heard that term, you need to make sure you're subscribed to Pit Road Productions. Certainly it is one of my regular go-tos. But Imola on that list is certainly a track I would love to drive in the Formula 3. A very good handling car as well. That aero really giving you a lot of grip. But definitely, as Reese was saying, you've got to be so careful of those curbs. The drivers are going to flirt with them, but let's hope they don't get a little bit of a slap and taking it off the course.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go through the grid then. Oh, what a surprise. Clay Morris has put it on pole position, with Jamie LeVay joining him on the front row. Andrew Hardman is in third place alongside Ozzy Milwayne. And then rounding out your top 6, we have Connor Klubine and Stuart Ross. Keenan Harris is going to start in 7th place alongside Robert Ridgway. And then we have Asad Nakadenbev starting 9th. Alex McLean rounds out your top 10.
As we have a look over at P11, we've got Tyler Scaralli there for Doppler Britannia iSports alongside his teammate there, Mr. Michael Broomhead. These guys joint in qualifying as well. Clovis Gerard, lovely gentleman. He's there in P13 with John Bemblid from our very own Lima Racing there in P14. Nicholas Calander, he's doing pretty well this season. He's there in P15 alongside Cedric O'Hine. A huge lot of love for that guy in P16. Eric Fenson, Reese's favourite driver in the series, just because he's Australian, ladies and gentlemen, is in P17 alongside Doppler Britannia's iSports, Harlan Goulburn, for the close of your 18-car grid this evening.
Yeah, Harland Goulburn making his first start this season, his BiS F3 debut. Checking the track temperature, 86 Fahrenheit on the track, and that's a reasonable temperature. That translates to about 30 degrees Celsius. Barely any wind to speak of, so I think that's going to work things out very nicely. And air temperature doesn't look too much higher than the track temperature. In fact, it's way cooler, only 22 degrees. And the track temperature is dropping with the clouds coming over this racetrack, Zippy.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and certainly the standing start. We've seen some drivers who do it a little bit better than others. We're going to have to see how it goes. Clay Morris is going to be on the pole. That beautiful Weaver Tools liveried race car, matching the one driven by Rob Burgess in the Radical Canada Cup. As away they go, and that was a very slow start from Asad Nakadenbev. You can see there, not quite able to get the power away, maybe sleeping a little bit at the start, but you can see Jamie LeVay and Andrew Harbin already looking to apply a bit of pressure there as they're making their way down towards turn 1, and side by side they go. Clay Morris able to hold on to the lead.
Yes, he's able to do that. That was step 1. Now they just need to work their way through the rest of these very tough chicanes here. Morris leading into Villeneuve. Got to be careful not to touch those curbs too much. Use the light-coloured green runoff areas. Stay off the dark green ones. Those are AstroTurf. They're way more slippery. Looks like a clean run through Tosa for the field, Zippy, and now we're starting to build that speed up again.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Well, these drivers are going to have to keep in mind that the tyres are indeed a little bit cold there. See Connor Klubine, he's a real-life F1600 driver, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. You can see he's currently there rocking it back in, whereabouts is he? P4, ladies and gentlemen. P4 up one position so far. Right now, the hard charge, though, is indeed Michael Brimhead. He's managed to make his way up into P9.
Yeah, good job there from our league administrator as they make their way up to the Variante Alta, clattering over the curbs in these F3 cars. You have to use that curb in order to be fast around here, but the F3s tend not to deal with those big bumps. Broomhead looking to make up another position here, getting up the inside at Ravazza, and it looks like Stuart Ross is going to have to give him some room there. There was an attempt by Broomhead, but Ross is going to hold on there. Jamie LeVay now getting alongside Aussie Millwayne down the start-finish straight. A super long start-finish stretch here at Imola. It looks like Keenan Harris is going to get involved with this one as well in the pink car.
Absolutely, this is one of my favourite strategies here. You start to see the car behind getting almost a little bit of a double draft there. As you see, he's managed to catch up to these guys and now applying pressure there. Not quite able to get side by side, but he's certainly putting in a good effort right on the tail there of Jamie LeVay. We saw him have great success there in the IndyCar Championship. Has he been able to transfer them skills over to the Formula 3?
Yeah, that is the question. Clay Morris certainly shown that he can be fast in an IndyCar and a Formula 3. Let's see if LeVay can do the same here. He's still trying to get past Millwayne, but it's been a good defense from that number 14 so far. Of course, this first race is an out-and-out sprint, so there won't be any pit stops to think of. It's just hard racing to the very end, and you've got to be careful and pick your battles around here, because it can be very easy to lose time through the corners running side by side. This is the head of the battle that stretches from 8th all the way down to 15th, riding on board with Mr. Clovis Girard here. Let's see what Alta's like on board here. Lots of curb from the cars ahead, but it seems that Clovis is being a little sparing with his curb usage there.
I can't admit, I can't fault him for that in a second. Certainly it was, I'm going to say it again, ladies and gentlemen, and you know what, if you get tired of it, fair play to you, but I got to have the pleasure of meeting this gentleman here when he came with a team over to Atlantic Motorsport Park, and honestly, he's an absolutely wonderful guy, and it's great to see him here in the sim doing well. And right now, applying a little bit of pressure there to the back of Tyler Scarali. I have a feeling Scarali actually might have a driver cam. I wonder if we can get a quick on-board shot with him there and see the muscles at work here from the number 15 car.
Indeed, Connor Klubine setting the fastest lap thus far, down to a 36.9. Clay Morris actually ran a faster lap, but he got an off-track on it, so it didn't count, unfortunately. So we'll keep an eye out. Tyler Scarali, here's your onboard that you asked for here, Zippy. And it looks like Scarali has got Girard for very close company, but there's not much room to get by there into Tosa. You have to have a mega run out of Villeneuve to send it there.
I got to admit, in these kind of scenarios, Reese, I'm absolutely just taking in the scenery behind him. He's definitely in the city centre somewhere, and I mean, it's a lot. I didn't really grow up in the city centre, but I kind of find it incredibly cool and also incredibly overwhelming at the same time. I can't decide if I'd love it or not, but fair play to him. It looks like a really nice setup, and don't get me wrong, you know what, I'm the kind of guy who, I don't know if I want to present this quite well, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Well, I would enjoy looking through my window and seeing him sim racing, and I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder if we look hard enough and click the enhance button a few times, there might be a shadowy figure with some binoculars standing in one of those windows. Well, regardless, it's a great view, and, well, you can definitely tell that it's night where he is, which is a bit of a spin out for me, being in Australia. It's just coming up to 8:45 in the morning for me. Oh, I've just seen Harlan Goulbourne is towed back to the pits. It looks like there's been some trouble for the 127.
Well, it sounds like indeed a little bit of an incident for the 127 car. Definitely not what he had in mind, but right now there is indeed battles going on. It looks like Robert Ridgway is actually getting into a battle here with John Beverly. This is a battle going on for P12 as Ridgway has managed to make his way by. Don't get me wrong, we are big fans of Lima Racing here, and we make no apologies for it, ladies and gentlemen. We're very proud to say that the Pit Road Productions logo and the BiS logo is on some of these radical race cars. We've seen Ricardo Bev now looking to take a piece out of John Bemberlin there. Certainly Bemberlin, he's a potent racer, definitely the very handy and radical, I'd say more so than the Formula 3, but his defensive game can indeed be potent. But we know that going up against the Bev, he's not a person who's afraid to put a nose in and go for a pass. You can see there right now, Bemblin, he may even be bump drafting him, ladies and gentlemen, as they make their way down towards the left-hander.
I had the pleasure of racing directly against both of these guys when the BiS F1600 Championship went to Mount Panorama, and yeah, I can tell you, you're right. Benvelid is a hard defender, and Bev is a hard charger for sure. It's going to be an interesting matchup between these two, but now that Bev has gotten back by, we'll see if he can try and get a run up the field. The problem is for Bev, that poor start really hurt him. He's only made his way back up to 13th, and it seems like his progress through the field is a bit slower than he'd like.
Yeah, certainly, and I'm actually just admiring John Bembelin's hat. I've got the same one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to put it on a bit later on. Certainly, a huge thank you there to Cedric Hines for sorting me out with some of that Lima Racing merch. But right now, he is indeed under attack. There's so much Eric Benson, the Australian driver. He's already managed to gain 2 positions, and it looks like he's going to try and make a move there on Bembelin on the inside. But don't get me wrong, there's still a long way to go in this race. We're about halfway through.
Yep, just about halfway through. A little bit of gravel being kicked up ahead there through Tamburello by someone ahead. But for the moment, Harlan Goulbourne, the only driver to retire from the race thus far, and commiserations to Harlan making his debut in the series here. Connor Klubine, meanwhile, has got a lot of pressure to deal with here as he tries to make his way past Andrew Hardman. Maybe Hardman's the one who's dealing with the pressure. This is a beautiful sequence of corners here. The run through Acqua Minerale, you've got to be so precise on the wheel. The curbs are brutal through that section, but commitment is key. It's turned into a bit of a four-way battle here. LeVay and Milwain in close pursuit.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And again, as you were saying earlier, he says we got a car turning around earlier.
That's LeVay.
And yeah, definitely very unlike LeVay. He's generally one of the more stable drivers, more robust drivers, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely not what he wanted to have happen. We'll have to take a quick look here at the replay and see exactly what happened to the 444 machine. The teammate here to number 3 car of Andrew Hartman.
Yeah, now he's under pressure.
Go ahead. Carry on. Carry on.
Okay, so LeVay, he just took a bit too much of the curb there and got majorly unsettled. A bit of avoiding action having to be taken, but he got going again without getting into the wall. No damage to the car. That's good.
Yeah, definitely could have been a lot worse there, and he's still in some traffic as well. He's got Eric Fenson just ahead of him now. You can see Fenson actually going up against it there, and that's I believe that's Robert Ridgway. No, it's Bev. My apologies, Bev. Oh dear, we got a spinner, and that is indeed Eric Fenson, the number 76 there. He's already making some passes. It's fair to say he's exceeded the limit of those tyres and ended up turning back to the pits actually.
Yeah, it was contact with Bev. Fenson was going for the move around the outside there, and Assad unfortunately understeered into him, and that sent Fenson hard into the wall. Side contact there, and well, it's resulted in what doesn't look like too much damage for Fenson's car, but he has retired. Assad Bev has lost his nose cone, so that's going to be further difficulties for the both of them come race 2 time.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's definitely a different kind of concept there on the front of the 230 machine. And it's fair to say he's probably going to have to try and limp that round at least for so long. He's going to be at a disadvantage there as Colin makes his way by. But we're going to take a quick look here at some of the other battles going on. Don't get me wrong, it's great to see some of the graphics there. It's good to see that iRacing does indeed show details inside the car. As Robert Ridgway, he's currently being cheered on by Richard Swindell, who I believe he's currently away on vacation. We hope he's having a good time. I believe he's out in cottage country, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, his teammate Robert Ridgway applying a good amount of pressure there to the back of Clovis Gerard. As we've seen a battle going on here for P2, it's Connor Klubine versus Andrew Hardman.
Yeah, and this time Klubine succeeds in getting past Hardman before Tamburello and claims that P2. So not a bad run with only 3 laps remaining in this session here. Clay Morris is so far ahead though. I don't think Klubine's going to be able to catch him unless there's a rare mistake from our championship leader.
Yeah, certainly. When you start to get a gap like that, you can really just, settle down and just get comfortable in the car. But saying that, he's got the fastest lap as well. Clay Morris really been able to connect with this Formula 3. I do have to wonder if we're going to have to start put a bounty on the guy. Certainly, you can't do it in official iRacing sessions, ladies and gentlemen. And we have tested that for you on your behalf. It's certainly frowned upon by the administrative team over at iRacing. But certainly we've seen it in one of the dirt racing leagues that we actually have on Tuesday night. No Limit Racing, be sure to check that out. Tuesdays at 8:30 Eastern.
On Pit Road Productions. We've got a great roster of series here at this firm. Well, look at the battle here once again. Tyler Scarali, I mean, he'd been dealing with a lot of pressure before, but he's got it again here with Robert Ridgway getting an excellent exit out of Variante Alta, and that's going to give him the inside line here for Rivazza, and Scarali just lets him go there. I think Ridgway is on an absolute charge right now. He's been trying his best to find his way back through there. Ridgway is a pretty good driver himself. He's had 35 starts in BiS sim leagues, and he's also given us a couple of commentary duties from time to time, but he's been here pretty much from the start.
Where's he done commentary? By all means, fill me in on that one. I know he's not done it here, but
I'm just reading the note. I'm just reading the note. Yeah, okay, so we might have to fix that. So Robert Ridgway has been making his way back up to 8th place, and it seems that he's starting to leave Scarali and LeVay behind. Oh no?
Yeah, I've just seen there's a black flag for Stuart Ross, who's actually, he's about 2.2 seconds ahead of Ridgway. We're going to have to take a look here. I do have to wonder if he's maybe cut the course a little bit there, but right now he's applying all of the pressures on Mike Broomhead. He may have a slowdown he's going to be trying to serve, but he's going to have to get rid of that quickly. I'll keep an eye on the black flag status, but certainly if he stays up behind Broomhead, he may find himself in a hot water position.
Yeah, Stuart Ross has certainly been having a couple of issues in this race, but he's been holding on nicely to a position in the top 7. Obviously put out of his starting place here by Broomhead, as only going to be a lap to go from what I can see. So unfortunately Ross's run is going to come to an end there after 9 laps of running, but he should be able to still get across the line and get some points. But yeah, it is white flag, Zippy, and Clay Morris is out in front by over 6 seconds. The battles really are here between Scarali and LeVay, and also between Harbin and Milwain. Morris has the track to himself.
Yes, so we got Richard Swindales in the chat saying BIS needs 2 leagues next season, 1 for Clay Morris and 1 for everyone else. Well, that is definitely a valid comment. Fair play, Clay Morris has been potent, but I have a different approach to that, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and gather up some, see if we can find some streamer buddies who we know are particularly potent. I've got a couple of people in mind, see if they can give Clay Morris a run for his money. I mean, let's be real as well. I mean, the guy's packing a 4600 I-rate. It's fair to say he's got experience, but I have a feeling that we may indeed be able to find someone to really kind of ruffle his feathers a little bit there. There's a beautiful paint job by the one and only November 15 of Tyler Scarali there. Pit Road Productions on the wing and indeed on the side of that car.
And in Italian colours as well. How appropriate for this round of the championship taking place in beautiful central Italy. Yeah, you can't see much of the livery from that under tray shot. Well, it looks like the end of the race is upon us there. Scarali almost losing it over the chicane, but Morris is crossing the line as we speak. It is a dominant victory once again for the 48 of Clay Morris. Have to give our victor his dues. He extends his championship lead and nails the first part of the night. Still got race 2 to come though. Andrew Hardman and Aussie Milwain will hang on a minute, it is the final lap now.
Easy fight.
Why does it keep doing that? That's a technical problem, I think, that I end up having from time to time. And I do apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we could give the victor his dues with a lap to go anyway. He's practically uncatchable at this point.
Well, saying that, Reese, if you've ever seen me race, you certainly know that it doesn't matter how big a gap I may or may not have, I can still screw it up at any particular moment. Anybody who's seen me race can vouch for that, and I'm sure you've done it as well in the nicest way possible. But we do have Richard Swindell saying he was trying to give a compliment. He has dominated and been very impressive. Fair play, I agree with him, but certainly I am going to have a little bit of a sniff around to see if we can find somebody to keep him on his toes a little bit here. Certainly, he really has taken to this Formula 3 car incredibly well. Like, incredibly well. We know in a Radical he was potent, but he did have a bit more competition here. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because further back through the field, we've got battles going on. Actually, it looks like Alex McLean having a little bit of a battle there with Clovis Gerard for P12.
Yeah, well, for the moment, take two. Clay Morris crosses the line to win race 1 and extend his championship lead. There we go. Nailed it. Let's forget that the last few minutes ever happened. Checkered flag out. And it looks like Hardman and Milwain have separated out a bit. Connor Klubine has come into the pits. Oh dear, there's been some trouble there for Klubine on the last lap.
Well, that could have been very expensive. I think both himself and Stuart Ross obviously flirted with that instant limit a little bit too much, and it's fair to say it's cost them both. Klubine, it's telling me, has indeed crossed the line in P9 right now. Absolutely detrimental, but a good news there for Aussie Milwain. He's moved up. Certainly, I think Hardman's moved up as well. Everybody basically from P2 to P8 has moved up. Incredible action there at the end. I guess just that one more off track was enough, as we've seen a drag race there to the line for the Lima Racing Machine.
Yeah, slow run across the line there, but the number 67 of Stuart Ross gets across the line, and well, I think things are going to get a little bit worse there for Klubine, because he got that black flag on the last lap, and I don't think it matters if you come into the pits when you get a penalty on the last lap. You will get that time added to your race, so that's demoted Klubine to 16th. Ouch.
Yeah, both being the director there, both in unison. Ouch. Yeah, that's definitely got to hurt, but I can tell you the gap between Stuart Ross and Cedric O'Hara, just 4 thousandths of a second across the line. Stuart Ross able to get him by less than a blink, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely incredible stuff. But we should probably do the results here as that race comes to an end.
Yeah, so Clay Morris, 7.7 seconds is the gap, with Austin Milwain finding his way onto the podium there, with Keenan Harris and Michael Broomhead rounding out your top 5. Robert Ridgway, Jamie LeVay, Tyler Scarelli, John Benvalid, and Nicholas Colander rounding out your top 10. Great run through the field there by Nicholas, starting out of 15th.
As we have a look there at P11, we've got Clovis Gerard making his way in ahead of Alex McLean, with Stuart Ross coming in 13th. Cedric O'Hara takes 14th. Absolutely incredible. You can see it there, 4 thousandths of a second, ladies and gentlemen. With Assad and Carden Bev getting that damage and losing the nose cone for P15. Klubine, the last lap penalty, putting down to P16, with Harlan Goldburn in 17th, and Eric Fenson closing out your grid in P18.
Yeah, and we are immediately into race 2. I don't think there's any need to read off the grid for this one, because it is the results from race 1. We do have to keep in mind, though, for the final race coming up shortly, the top 10 finishers from race 2 will be inverted. So let's make sure to keep an eye on that P10 battle to see who's going to get that coveted pole position.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Now, I do have to wonder, is Nikanenberg going to get a better start this time around? Certainly, it did indeed bite him in the last one. Are we going to see Andrew Hardman be able to give Clay Morris a run for his money? Aussie Milwain as well. We know that Aussie's got talent. We've seen him win the BiS Radical Canada Cup before, and he did indeed get to have one of those drivers. He won it in the Pro Series, ladies and gentlemen. It was Zach Buchanan, the other driver, getting to enjoy that as well. Actually, I think the test session's coming up for that very shortly. I know I need to go and do one myself, which, again, huge thank you to Robert Burgess for that. And we do have actually Robert Ridgway in the chat saying, note to self, increase clutch bite point with his kindly waves in there, as we are indeed getting ready to go. Reese, do the honours.
And away we go for the start. Slow from Clay Morris. He didn't get quite the best getaway there. Going to get challenged by Hardman and Milwain into turn 1, as there was some slow starters further back as well. Deep on the brakes for Nicholas Colander. He's going to fly up the inside of Scarelli and send Tyler off into the gravel trap there. But Clay Morris has held on to the lead versus Andrew Hardman, and now Milwain's going to try and go around the outside of the entry into Villeneuve. He is ahead at the apex, and that's going to be that. Nicholas Colander has crashed. Big damage. He has lost all of his wings, and that is a huge incident on lap 1 that we weren't quite able to catch live, but I'm sure we'll get a replay shortly. This is very close quarters early on. Milwain, Hardman, LeVay, Broomhead, Benvalid all together.
Great to see good battles going on, but right now I think my biggest wish for these guys in the lead pack is to kind of almost get in a single file and see if they can indeed bring a challenge there to Clay Morris. He's already managed to pull away just about a second, ladies and gentlemen. If they can stay with him, if they can stay in that draft, they may indeed be able to challenge him greatly, as right now the battles are incredibly close all the way from P1 down to P15.
They certainly are. Unfortunately, not the only problem we saw on lap 1 there for Nicholas Colander. It looks like Alex McLean ran off at Tamburello, and he's got major damage as well. And it seems that Harlan Goulbourne as well has also suffered a problem out of Tosa. So some chaos here on the first lap as Broomhead clatters over the curve at the exit of Rivatsa 2. But end of the first lap, 9 to go. And, well, Alex McLean has towed back to pit lane. Harlan Goulbourne and Nicholas Colander still running, albeit very heavily damaged. And it's still on between Hardman and Milwain this time as we go over the inside there at turn 1. And that bit of side-by-side has brought Jamie LeVay right into it. Going to sweep around the outside of Milwain to take 4th.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of team strategy going on here. Broomhead looking to put a nose in. He's got Milwain there right alongside him as we see the two MTC Motorsports drivers now able to get in single file. And Broomhead actually pulled it off. Attaboy, well done there. Certainly, Broomhead is indeed on it today, and certainly to try and compete against Aussie Milwain does indeed take some talent. Both very potent drivers we see here from the rear wing of the 00. Now Milwain, he's currently down 2 spots so far. Broomhead's up 1. Jamie LeVay's currently he's doing pretty good. He's up for the hard charger right now, is indeed Stuart Ross. He's up a massive 6 positions. Eric Fenson's now up 6 positions as well, but right now you can see the number 14 of Milwain applying as much pressure as he can to the back of that 00. Now you got to ask yourself, are they indeed going to fight, or are they going to try and focus on the battles ahead, as already Clay Morris pulled away of 2.3 second gap.
Yeah, all it takes is... Oh dear, that is the nose in the wall at Variante Alta. He took a bit too much of the first curb there. The car got unsettled. And unfortunately, that is going to demote him all the way to the back. Well, Milwain almost got into the very back of Broomhead there at the braking zone. And I think that forced Broomhead to run a bit deep or turn in a bit earlier. You saw how much he got unsettled. He actually hooked over the inside of the curb. You don't want to do that.
I think where these drivers are literally braking at the very last moment. Certainly, if you go and catch a little bit of curb, it's enough to upset the car, and certainly that indeed is what happened to Michael Broomhead. Definitely a bit of a shame. He was doing incredibly well, but we see here the two MTC Motorsport cars, Andrew Hartman and Jamie LeVay, taking up the second and third spot there. The podium. Clay Morris clocked out. He's 2.4 seconds ahead. But let's head back a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen. Stuart Ross is now up a massive 7 positions, as is Connor Klubine, and Eric Fenson up 8 as well. You can see there's a huge battle happening around P6 and further back.
Yeah, stretches all the way back to P13. Look at that freight train of cars making their way up the hill here. Imola, a beautiful flowing circuit, actually started out as public roads. Fun fact, back in the 1950s, so basically there's 2 points on the circuit, right? Where Rivatsa is and where Tosa is, at opposite ends of the track. There was already a road existing between those 2 points. Then a second one was built either up across the hill or along the river, and basically some motorcycle racers decided, hey, this would make a really good racetrack, and they started racing. And now it's gotten to the point where this former public road is now a dedicated racetrack where you can see big moves like that. Connor Klubine making his way past John Benvalid in fantastic fashion.
That was a beautiful pass, I got to admit. It was good. That was impressive, but it doesn't look like Benvalid is going to be out of it just yet. He's certainly been under attack a little bit this evening. It's now Eric Fenson. He had a rough race in the first one. Can he do it a little bit better in this second one now, as he's got alongside it? John Benvalid is going to make their way down to turn 1. It looks like Benvalid not going to give it up easily as he tucks in behind, but you can see that Fenson's gone too deep, goes over to the sand. Is he going to be able to keep hold of it? He's definitely got a little bit of a tank slapper going. and Benville is back ahead. You can see there Nikanobev's gone by, Scaralli's gone by, and somebody else stuck by as well. I believe that's Clovis Gerard as well. All of these drivers sneaking by. So Fenson, he manages to get by and then ends up losing 4 positions as a result.
Oh man, it's been a tough day for Fenson, but well held. He was able to keep the car going and not lose it into the wall. Now Tyler Scaralli will take the box seat here in the battle, with Clovis Gerard and Assad Nikanobov up ahead of him, battling for the last position in the top 10. This is the battle for race 2 pole, Zippy.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and you can see there, I gotta wonder, is he kind of flipping us off there? No, he's just got his hand on the downshift pedal, ladies and gentlemen, as he's going to try and make a move here against Clovis Gerard into the chicane. It looked a bit ambitious. There's contact wheel to wheel, but it looks like both cars have been able to keep going. But you know what? Who did you just see snake by? Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Fenson, guys, thank you very much, and sneaks on past the pair of them.
Yeah, that's perfectly executed there by Fenson. Seeing the drivers battle ahead of him, seeing the chance to move by easily and get his race back to something resembling a good one. It's been a lot of trouble there for Fenson. Same for Broomhead, Colander, McLean, Goulbourne. Man, just really tough here in race 2. And my apologies, it is the battle for race 3 pole. My apologies. Got my digits off by 1 there. But yeah, now that we are at lap 5, we're going to reach the halfway point of the race at the end of this lap. Clay Morris has checked out once again, and it's all battling down here at the back end of the top 10. Looks like Eric Fenson is starting to be classed as within a second of Nikanobov, so the battle for 10th might come to something shortly.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Certainly Nikanobov, he is quite an aggressive driver, young lad, professional karter, a sponsored karter, that fair play to him. I have a feeling that Fenson is indeed going to have his work cut out for him there. As right now, we've got the leaders actually, second and third, Andrew Hartman and Jamie LeVay. These two guys are actually within about 3/10 of each other. I do have to wonder if we're going to see some team tactics, or indeed if we're going to see a little bit of a battle going on between the two MTC Motorsports cars.
Yeah, it seems that Hartman and LeVay, you know, they're close, but they're keeping their distance at the same time. They don't want to pressure each other too much. They've got a good result for the team going along here. And, well, we'll find Eric Fenson, meanwhile, really catching up to Nikanobov on this lap. I think Assad is a little frazzled from the sheer amount of action that we've had in this race so far. The fastest lap goes to our race leader, as now we see Nikanobov having to go defensive versus Eric Fenson. These two came together in the same fashion last race, and they won't have forgotten that. Fenson on the outside of the braking zone. This time he backs out of it, and he's going to find an easier way through later in the lap.
Yeah, certainly going down that start-finish straight, Reese, the draft is indeed so big. It looks like Scaralli's under some pressure here from Clovis Gerard. We've got 2 battles happening at the screen at once, ladies and gentlemen. We've got one here in the foreground. You can see the other one happening right behind there. Scaralli holding him off for now. Nikanobov, though, he will defend that with every bit. He's got to see a bit of a lock-up there from Fenson. Certainly, this is where you can have to play into the mind of the driver. Nikanobov, I have a feeling, honestly, he's really manipulating Fenson at this point. He's managing to force a couple of mistakes out of him. Are we going to see another come in the cars together, or are we going to see Fenson make his way up ahead past Nikanobov?
Yeah, well, yeah, Fenson is showing the nose at quite a few corners here, and maybe it would be better for him if he just focused on an exit. But unfortunately, Nikanobov is a very wily competitor, and he knows exactly where to place his car to defend. Big curb usage. Oh, no! That could have been another position there for Fenson, but they came together, and it looks like Clovis Gerard's going to get involved, and Fenson gets into the wall. Oh no, that is the worst possible outcome from that incident for Eric Fenson. He would have had pole for race 3, but it was taken away in a split second.
Yeah, honestly, for that one, I'd almost like to see that from like a helicam or something from Clovis Gerard's point of view, because I have a feeling both him and Scaralli was able to shoot through. And he's kind of like an innocent bystander at that point. Here we go. Here's the start of Nikanobov as they head down into the chicane. You're going to see it slow it down a little bit there. So Nikanobov gets a good bit of curb, powers out on corner exit, just starts to get a bit too much rotation. Fenson sees this, tries to correct, gets a little bit of a tank slapper going. absolutely runs over the nose cone of the Garden Bev. Now let's see what happened with Clovis Gerard here. There goes Scarelli on the left. Gerard's there, and it looks like Fenton rejoins, bumps Garden Bev, and Garden Bev gets pushed into Gerard. So definitely a bit unfortunate there, but Garden Bev and Fenton, I have a feeling these two guys are not going to be the best of friends. That's 3 incidents in 2 races now.
Yeah, not ideal for either of them. And yeah, that 3-wide incident was interesting. I understand why Bev and Fenton went where they did. They were hoping that they would get off the racing line and give themselves, you know, a chance to get going again without impeding anyone else. Unfortunately, Clovis Gerard arrived on the scene very quickly. So not much that could be done about that. Bev has managed to get away with it somewhat. He's managed to keep himself in 12th, and miraculously, he's still in the battle for race 3 pole here. Scarelli now holds that position 2 cars ahead.
Certainly, Scarelli will be happy to start at the front. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely terrifying having these guys behind you, but it is indeed a lot of fun as well. Myself, able to get a podium once for BiS at Laguna Seca, with an invert grid giving me a lot of that help there. But right now, we do have a battle a bit further up through the field, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed between Andrew Hartman and Ozzy Milwain. It looks like Jamie LeVay was able to make his way past his teammate now, and looks like Milwain's trying to make a little bit of pressure and find himself up onto the podium.
Yeah, LeVay and Hardman had been keeping each other nice and close company for the podium fight, but now Milwain has caught up to them, so we will see potential moves from the yellow number 14 as we'll find our way into the last couple of laps. We'll see. Meanwhile, the fight continuing on here for Tyler Scarelli. P3 is where it's at. Andrew Hardman and Ozzy Milwain coming through Variante Alta. And looks like Ozzy has found some good pace for the time being. A 136.1 on the last lap versus a 137.1 for Andrew Hardman. Milwain took a whole second out of him. So, you know, I think there's something to think about in this battle. How did Hardman lose that time, especially since his teammate LeVay set a 35.9 on the previous lap?
Yeah, certainly I have to wonder if Hardman's maybe, if he's grazing near an incident limit perhaps, or perhaps he even lifted off just to make sure he did keep that car within the track limits there. But right now, Hardman is indeed going to be under attack. There's 6/10 of a second in it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no! Huge incident for Scarelli. He joins the No-Nose Club and makes his way down pit road.
Okay, how on earth did that happen? That was out of Ravazza 2. So he turns in for Ravazza 1 nicely, nailed that, and then in for the second Ravazza, gets on the curb.
Oh.
And the slippery fake grass there on the outside, and that was all she wrote. That promotes Clovis Gerard into the box seat for race 3 pole. Unfortunately for Scarelli, the pit lane was right there, and he was able to get the car fixed pretty quickly. Now, we're coming up on white flag on next time by, and don't worry everybody, I have double checked that it will be the final lap next lap. So the pressure's on here for Andrew Hardman. Can he keep Ozzy Milwain behind? Is there anything that they can do to overcome Clay Morris? Probably not at this point. 5.3 seconds is the gap for the lead.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I think Rob Burgess is going to be both happy and disappointed here, because while Clay Morris is doing really well here, having an undefeated streak so far, he's not really going to get much screen time as a result. So then We're Tools guys are maybe not getting their money worth out of the sponsorship when it comes to the sim side, but fair play to him as we got another battle happening now a little bit further back. This time it's between Connor Klubine and Stuart Ross. Now Stuart Ross did manage to get some real life podiums. I believe it's in an F1600, but don't hold me to it, ladies and gentlemen. But fair play to him, one of the young drivers, and I believe Connor Klubine also competes with them. So these guys are indeed teammates and rivals at the same time.
Well, Klubine gets past Ross there to Tamburello, but it looks like Stewart is picking up a better run out of Tamburello, and now Connor's going to have to go defensive here. Easy done. It's very difficult to make a pass around the outside of Villeneuve there. You have to be practically alongside the car that you're trying to pass if you want to get that done. Well, fights all through our top 10. Not only do we have this, but we also have LeVay and Ridgeway battling for 7th and 8th. We have Hardman and Milwain still reasonably close for 2nd, and there may be a final charge from Milwain for the moment. These teammates are looking good for the moment. As looked like a little bit of oversteer there for Klubine, but a bit of rotation is never a bad thing in a Formula 3 car. Down to the final couple of corners we come for Clay Morris, and I mean his run just continues here. What more can we say about this guy that we haven't said already?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be quick, certainly work with Radical Canada. That's definitely the best advertisement I can give.
Well, there we go, across the line for Clay Morris. Austin Milwain, unfortunately for him, doesn't get by Andrew Hardman on the final lap. And Connor Klubine wins the battle of the teammates there for 5th and 6th as LeVay and Ridgeway cross the line behind. Very large gaps throughout the rest of the field. So looks like there's Nakadam who's managed to finish in 10th. He will get pole for race 3.
Yeah, definitely. That's a scary spot to be in, but Nakadam, this could be exactly the opportunity he needs. Benblid on P2 as well. That's definitely, there's some good opportunities in here. I certainly think Jamie LeVay there, he's going to be starting in P4 for that feature race. I have a feeling he may have a chance of being able to hold off some of the favourites here in the Formula 3 Championship, and definitely after seeing him in that IndyCar, I think he's given a shot and he can get out in front quickly. He may indeed present a new challenge here for the 8th Clay Morris.
For sure. Will we finally see Clay Morris's victory streak broken in this 3rd and final race coming up? Last finisher is going to be Nicholas Colander, who obviously had his issues at the start of the race, but he's had a quiet one and a consistent one to come home in P15. So that is the checkered flag done, and that is race 2 over. So Zippy, yeah, Morris, Hardman and Milwain on our podium there. Keenan Harris having a pretty good run, honestly, getting into 4th place. And we had Klubine and Ross in P6 with LeVay, Ridgeway, Bendelid and Nakadam rounding at your top 10. Flip those, and that is your starting order in the top 10 for race 3.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. But let's have a quick chat here about some of the murmurs we got going on here at Pit Road Productions. So we are indeed going to be getting the Radical Canada Cup going again, ladies and gentlemen. That's the plan anyway. We're going to have that. We're going to have the Radical Academy back, and hopefully the BiS Formula 1600 Championship as well. Sign-ups will be opening soon. So ladies and gentlemen, I think the best time to say this is now. If you want to be involved, you got to scan the QR code our producer's going to put on the screen for us. Scan that. Magic happens. It's kind of like a barcode at the grocery store, but way, way better, ladies and gentlemen. Much more fun, much more opportunity. But certainly we do indeed have sim to reality experiences happening here on Pit Road Productions, and indeed with BiS. And a huge thank you to everybody who makes that possible. But if you want to take part, this is where you need to start. You need to go and scan that code, get into the Discord, and keep your eyes out for sign-ups that are going to be opening very soon.
Yes, indeed you do. And yeah, good point on the sim to reality point. Both Radicals and F1600s offer the opportunity for a test in a real version of the car that you race in the sims. So make sure to get yourselves signed up when that comes around. Sign-ups will be opening soon. Details yet to come. But for now, F3 is where it's at for BiS Sim Leagues. And yeah, the question on my mind still is, can anyone overcome that incredible margin that Clay Morris has seemed to build up? I mean, we're going to be at the halfway point of the season once this night is done, and Morris might very well be uncatchable in the championship.
Yeah, certainly he has indeed been a potent force, but don't get me wrong, that does indeed mean that the battle is still on for every other position going, Reese. But Certainly as well, if you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe button here on the on Pit Road Productions, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to see you here much more often. I believe we are the only sim racing broadcaster that doesn't just do sim racing production and commentary. We also commentate in real life as well. We also we actually sponsor a race series, ladies and gentlemen. We sponsor the track series here in Nova Scotia, Canada, so proud to be part of that. And then not only that, we're very proud to say that we have our logo over on the Lima Racing Radical cars. Fantastic stuff. So not just a broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen, we are a lot more than that, and we thank you for joining us on that journey. And certainly if you do want to get your sim racing league broadcasted, just you can join the BiS Discord if you like and message me on there. Leave a comment on YouTube. Find a way to reach me. We'll certainly make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love to get you on board. You could have myself, Reese, maybe even Christian as well, if we can get him for the show. That'd be good, wouldn't it, Christian? Not that you guys can hear him, but it'd be good to get a few more shows going, and we'd love to have you on board by all means. Give us a message, put a comment on the chat, and we'll see if we can get you and your league looked after.
Absolutely. We got a great roster of leagues that we're having here at Pit Road Productions, including the No Limit Racing High Stakes Late Model Series on Tuesday nights. That's been very exciting indeed. Dirt Oval. So I'm looking forward to the round for that next week, where we're going to be racing at Bristol. That's going to be a real tough one. But for now, we will turn our attention once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari, a beautiful historic circuit, one that has been tainted a little by tragedy. Of course, this is the track where Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger lost their lives in 1994, which is the main reason the track is the way it is today. Used to be a lot faster, especially in the first sector, but after those unfortunate incidents at the San Marino Grand Prix, the chicanes were introduced, and I think they've introduced an extra challenge to this track. As we've seen, very hard to run side by side through those places.
It certainly does present a new set of challenges. We've got to admit, it is indeed on my favourite tracks this race, and certainly a lot of fun. It's got a beautiful rhythm to it, a beautiful flow, some lovely elevation change as well. Certainly this is one of the races I would indeed have liked to have been present for. Certainly I know that our producers go really keen to do IndyCar next season as well. We'll have to see about that. We do like to keep them locked up in the booth. But Reese, we're just about to get ready for the main feature race of the evening. These drivers are going to have to take a pit stop.
Yes, indeed they are. One mandatory pit stop for a little bit of fuel. They can't make it to the end on fuel in this third and final race, if I can get my event sequencing right. Fastest lap in the warm-up there for Alex McLean. Not quite up to the pace that they were able to manage in race 2, but the grid is upon us here for race 3. And this is going to be a very interesting one indeed. Assad de Kadembev is on pole position in the 230. John Benvalit alongside him. Now, a master defender versus a very aggressive passer there on the front row. That'll be fun. Robert Ridgway and Jamie LeVay on row 2, with Stuart Ross and Connor Klubine on the 5th and 6th grid spots. Keenan Harris is going to start in 7th place alongside Aussie Milwayne, and our top 10 will be rounded out by Andrew Hardman and Clay Morris, our championship leader.
As we have a look back at PLA 11, Cedric O'Hine is going to be there. If you want to actually meet him in real life, he's going to be at the Labor Day race at Mosport, ladies and gentlemen, with Lima Racing. Clovis Gerard, he's there in P12. As we have a look back to P13, Mike Broomhead, definitely unfortunate to see him back there, but yet again alongside teammate Tyler Scrally for P14. As we have a look at 15th there, Nicholas Colander, hopefully he can have a little bit of a cleaner race today, with Alex McLean there. Both these drivers having a bit of an unfortunate evening in 16th. And as we head a little bit further back, I believe Eric Fenson has left the session, but Harlan Goldburn is alongside in P18.
Yes, so 17 cars to take to the start here, and yeah, Eric Fenson disconnected from the server Midway through race 2, revs rise and then they drop. And we are away once again. Cardenbev gets a good start from the front row, but it looked like a couple of positions lost for potentially Keenan Harris as Milwain was moving around there in the background there in the yellow machine. Cardenbev away to a great lead as Robert Ridgway tried to get past John Benvalid. Now Jamie LeVay is going to sweep around the outside there. Cardenbev already out to a 1.2 second lead by the time they get to the 5th corner.
He's gone full firework mode, and right now Benvalid is indeed, he's got a lot of work happening behind him, but I have a feeling that Tyler Scarelli may have jumped the start. He's been black flagged right from the get-go. He may have been a little bit keen on the trigger there. We'll have to catch a replay of it a little bit later on, but right now battle's happening throughout the field. John Benvalid able to hold on to second place over Jamie LeVay in a hot pursuit.
Absolutely, this is going to be interesting here in the top 10. Clay Morris has only made up one position at the moment. He's in 9th. There's Ridgway and Klubine. Close together there. That was a good defense there from Ridgway. Klubine trying to make the pass at Aqua Minerale. And is he going to try and find a way up the inside at Variante Alta? No, he's not. Oh, goodness me. It's all going off in these fights here. LeVay still trying to pass Benvalid. Stuart Ross in close tow there. Side by side on the way into Ravazza 1. And LeVay finally gets past.
Yeah, I got to admit there, John Benvalid, he is a decent racer, but he's definitely very clean. I almost wonder at times if he needs a little bit more aggression, bless him. But fair play to him. His attrition rate is fantastic, as right now he's going to be under attack from Stuart Ross. I can tell he's something happened with Michael Broomhead. He was involved in some kind of crash there on lap 1. We'll have to see a peek a bit later. Certainly we've got a couple of replays to gear up, but right now Benvalid there under attack, and Stuart Ross has been able to sneak his way up onto the last step of the podium.
Yes, side by side behind though, heavy battle going on between Ridgway, Hardman and Morris. Clay is playing things pretty safe here. He's put himself in positions where he could go for an outside pass or something like that, but he's been backing out where it matters, and I think he had to get on the brakes a bit earlier than he wanted there. Hardman was trying to defend the inside into Tosa, and then we'll fight behind as well. Harris versus Klubine, just behind our championship leader there. But yeah, Clay Morris now up to 7th. I think he's just taking his time with this. He knows that he's the fastest driver in the field. He doesn't have to push hard to make positions early on. He doesn't want to put himself at risk.
Yeah, certainly the pressure's off for him at this point, but you know what? I always wonder if the rest of the field's going to be keen just to try and see if they can beat this guy. I mean, fair play to him. I'd want to have a crack at him. As you see there, catching a lot of curb, but able to keep hold of the car. But we will take a quick look at them replays probably in the next lap or so, as we've still got action going on. There's Keenan Harris now looking to have a shot here at the number 48.
Oh, he backed out of it though, and that almost opened up an opportunity for Klubine to get through. They'll continue through Ravazza 2. Hard exit. It's a faster than you think, that corner, and it leads on to the longest straight, or the longest flat-out section really of this circuit. It's got a few kinks in it. Hello, 3 wide. That's Aussie Milwain trying to find his way through on the inside there. Klubine will make his way past Keenan Harris. But now Milwain has the challenge here. They almost interlock wheels there, and big slip and slide from the both of them. Keenan Harris is still in this fight.
I actually thought he was going to go and snake past the pair of them there. Fair play to him. He may get a little bit of the double draft. I think he's kind of decided, nope, I'm going to see what happens with these guys. And fair play to him. He's in a prime position right now. He could put a nose in and really challenge him, but right now, you know what? I don't know what the play is. You can see the battle happening ahead. As soon as you go 3 wide, it does get a bit sketchy, but oh my gosh, so much fun.
Yeah, fantastic racing between Aussie Milwain and Connor Klubine there. They were slipping and sliding in and around each other, but they didn't make contact, at least not heavy contact. That's exactly what we want to see. So the Britain West Motorsports number 65 will make its way to the top of the hill here. Of course, Britain West Motorsports supplied the test car for the BiS F1600 Championship prize. So it's great to have them involved here as well. Jamie LeVay, meanwhile, is caught right up to Asad Nikardenbev, and the battle for the lead is on.
Yeah, certainly LaFay definitely a little bit more on the cautious side than Nikanobev's definitely been having a little bit of a bumpy race today. You can see there LaFay leaving all of the space he can there, and he's been able to get the pass done on the straightaway. That huge start finish definitely makes it possible as long as you get a good clean exit out of the final corner. But right now, is Nikanobev going to be able to fight back? You see Stuart Ross a little bit further back, but I think the really big battles are here happening in P5. Hardman, Ridgway, and Morris now all within about 3/10 of a second.
Oh, look at them go. Into Villeneuve, my lord. They are running as far out as they can over that green-painted concrete, and Ridgway gets on the brakes early for Tosa. Sweeping around the outside is Clay Morris, getting up to 6th spot. Well, his next target is Hardman, and we've already had our first 2 pit stops of the race, scheduled pit stops. Keenan Harris and Michael Broomhead have both come into the lane, 4.6 and 4.2 seconds in the box respectively, but Keenan Harris looks like lost out a bit on the way through the lane. He was about 3 seconds slower than Broomhead from the start to finish of the pit lane, so gonna have to be careful to hit your marks.
Yeah, I have a feeling Broomheads wasn't necessarily on schedule. He did have a first lap crash. Actually, let's maybe see if we can get a little bit of a replay here. So Tyler Scarelli, I have a feeling, jumped the start, and Broomhead definitely got in an incident there on lap 1. We'll see if we can gear them up for you in just a second. Here we go. Let's have a quick look.
So here's Scarelli sitting in his grid spot, and he was creeping. That's a shame.
Trigger happy.
Yeah, probably giving it a bit too much throttle there. Here's Broomhead, meanwhile, big dive up the inside, and he tried to turn in for the second part of Tamarello, but yeah, it looks like a bit of latency issue there for the 00. Unfortunate. As live, I've just noticed Aussie Milwayne has dropped down the order. There's been a problem for Milwayne, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. Yeah, looks like Milwayne and Klubine came together on the way into Tamburello, so good run for Klubine here. He tried to get back up the inside of Milwayne, but they came together on the way into the corner there. Milwayne was trying to commit to the turn-in, but Klubine was still there.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate there. It looked like he just licked the grass, and both of these drivers ended up taking the scenic route. But what does that mean now for the rest of these guys? Well, they're both in it. Actually, they're still in a fight, albeit down for P11 down. There's about 8/10 of a second between them, or at least there was a moment ago. So to go Hines now spotted himself there. Milwayne has dropped back to about 3 seconds behind O'Hine, but now Clay Morris is indeed applying pressure to the back of John Bemberlin. It is indeed Lima Racing versus Radical Canada on this occasion.
Yeah, and it looks like Radical Canada is going to win on that occasion. Behind these guys at the top of the hill, unfortunately, Andrew Hardman had a spin. It seems that the curbs at Variante Alta are claiming the most drivers tonight. Now, it's time for a potential response here from John Bendelit, as Stuart Ross and Assad Nikanobov have just traded for second place. It looks like Assad might be starting to fall down the order here. Morris is going to defend nicely from Bendelit, meanwhile. I did notice Robert Ridgway pointed out on the way into this session that the track temperature has gone up. It's now 40 degrees Celsius. It is a lot warmer than it was in races 1 and 2, so that might be playing into how these drivers are attacking.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit toasty for my liking there, Reece. Certainly I'm more of an 18 degrees kind of guy. You know, that's more my kind of speed, maybe even 15, depends how much work I've got to do. But you see there, Clay Morris has made his way up 6 positions. Not the hard charger in the field, though. It actually belongs to the number 5 car, Nicholas Kleiner. He's currently there in P7.
A good job from Nicholas there. He's avoided the chaos at the start of the race, and as long as he nails his pit stop, he should be on for a good result. We've had Tyler Scarelli come in for his scheduled pit stop meanwhile, as Colander and Hardman have just traded for 7th and 8th. They are very close together. We were just talking about the both of these guys, and now Colander forced to back out there through Variante Alta, almost losing it over the curb, and Clovis Gerard says, "Hello, mate, it's time for me to make your life difficult."
Yeah, you can see that, and definitely Colander very much on the defensive there. Gerard very wisely backed out of that. I gotta say, Gerard, He definitely wins the driver cam award. Certainly, I've not forgotten him being irritated with pit mechanics. That was absolutely hilarious. Fond memories, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure. Next couple of pit stops have come in. Meanwhile, Nicard and Bev, McLean and O'Hyan all coming in. Aussie Milwayne joins them, as well as this fight still going on. Colander diving up the inside of Clovis Gerard, and that's going to be the end of the battle for that corner, but there's plenty of opportunity for response here from Clovis. Colander trying to go defensive and squeeze Gerard to the inside, and it's worked in the short term, but he's gone deep on the exit of Villeneuve, and now Gerard might stand a chance to maybe go around the outside or perform an over-under. There's a few lines possible through that hairpin, but maybe Connor Klubine's going to make life difficult for the both of them here.
I'll say Collander's putting on an absolutely fantastic defensive drive, and not only that,
oh God! Oh, that was big. Clovis Gerard into the wall.
That's a replay job for sure. That didn't look good.
Yeah, from that angle, I couldn't quite tell what happened. It looks like actually that might be on Connor Klubine, as Cedric O'Hyan evidently has had a problem coming out of his pit stop. No. Okay, so here's the aerial view of Connor Klubine here, and you'll see him try to blend over to the right to open the line there. Gerard, it didn't look like he altered his line too much there. Maybe he did move left ever so slightly, but I think Klubine was just concentrating on moving right to follow the curve of the racetrack, and unfortunately, Clovis Gerard was still there. That's resulted in a meatball flag for Connor, and really unfortunate way for that race to go for him.
I gotta admit, I do feel he got the short straw on that one. The 27, you know, he doesn't have to move over. There was still space on the track, so I do feel that he was definitely given the short straw on that one. As we see Clay Morris now made his way up into P3, and it looks like, oh no, that's Gerard making his way into the pits, I believe.
Yes, I made an error. It wasn't Connor Klubine that got the meatball flag, it was Clovis Gerard. But fortunately, a fast repair available in the pit lane, so Clovis has taken that and can somewhat resurrect his race. Clay Morris, meanwhile, has made his way up to P3, and he's looking right at the back of Stuart Ross. Now, worth pointing out, the gap from Clay Morris to Jamie LeVay is about 5.6 seconds. Oh dear, there goes Stuart Ross. Big slide. Managed to recover it though. Very nice save.
Oh, boy.
Has demoted him to third. But yeah, I guess now clear air ahead of him. Clay Morris has 5.7 seconds to the race lead, and by how much did he win the previous two races? About 5 to 6 seconds. So there is a lot of potential here for him to try and catch up to Jamie LeVay in the next few minutes.
Well, I enjoy a little bit of math, despite the fact I'm not too good at it. Right now, you can see the last lap here for Morris was a 38.3. Best lap of 38.6. If I look at the best lap for LeVay, though, it's a 36.7. So right now, in theory, LeVay's got him he's got him dead to rights with about 2 seconds a lap. But we know now that Clay Morris is going to be in some clean air. I have a feeling that the scales are indeed going to tip the other way.
Yeah, Morris has easily been able to set low 36s, even dip into the 135s on occasion in races 1 and 2. So I think you know, the lap times that we've seen from him so far are a bit misleading. He's been having to work his way through the rest of the drivers in the top 10, and he's taken his time. He's backed out of moves. He knows that it's a longer race with a pit stop. He can take his time there. But yeah, we'll see very shortly what the lap times will be like, as he's about to have a whole lap in clean air, but maybe push it a bit too hard at Variante Alta.
I gotta admit, I did fall ill. He took a bit more curve that time, and you see on the exit, like, I think he thought he took a bit more curve that time too. Thankfully, able to catch it, but certainly beautiful camera shot. Gotta give him that.
Yeah, certainly worked out well. That was a nice frame. But across the line they'll come. So LeVay setting a 136.8, and Clay Morris will set a 136.9. So that seems a little bit more like what we're thinking of. Problem is, maybe Morris's tyres are a bit overheated here in the hotter track temperatures, and he may be having trouble actually getting the advantage over LeVay. I think the mistake at Alta was definitely worth a few tenths at least.
Oh, as you say that, we got a battle starting to emerge a little bit further back. P13 between Ozzy Milwain and Cedric O'Hyan. Both of these drivers have pit now, and it looks like Milwain is indeed ahead, but for how long? He managed to make the pass over on lap 9, and a fair play to him. Cedric's been able to stay with him. Certainly he's, I believe, I think he's leading the Masters Championship in the Radical Canada Cup right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's played. Forgive me for my memory is not particularly great, especially when it comes to numbers, but he's having an absolutely fantastic time in real life, certainly having fun. And indeed, if you want to meet him, John Benville's going to be there as well. I think Rasim Fasui, that's a name that you guys will recognize if you've been around Pit Road Productions for a while, certainly BiS. The absolute legend in a radical car, ladies and gentlemen. He is their like chief engineer and coach. So certainly those three guys I'm expecting to see over at Motorsport for Labor Day weekend. If you want to go meet them, by all means, they'd love to see you. And by all means, mention Pit Road Productions as well.
Yeah, I have to get over to Canada someday. Maybe at some point the budget will open for me to do that, but it looks like the door's not quite open for Nicholas Colander to find his way past Keenan Harris. 1.5 laps out of the pits for the number 5, and Jamie LeVay is getting the fastest lap board shown to him once again. Colander trying his best here versus Keenan Harris. I think he might have to rely on a mistake or forcing Harris to burn through his tyres there. Next pit stop has just been made, John Benvalid, and we'll see if he holds on to it. It looks like Nikardembev's going to jump him at the very least, but it seems Benvalid has come out pretty solidly in P7. That should tell you something about where everyone else is going to end up. We only have 5 drivers left to take their pit stop, and that is our top 5.
Yeah, certainly. I've always done for pit strategy. I always try to pit as late as possible, especially when there's a fast repair involved. Because certainly, I want to leave that, on the table just in case I need it. And certainly, haven't seen my driving. That does indeed happen on occasion. I probably should stop roasting my own driving. Certainly, yeah. I've been given a chance to drive one of these, one of the Radical SR3 cars, and I keep criticizing my driving. Maybe Rob Burgess can have second thoughts on that, but I take a little bit in confidence knowing that he's actually seen me in the sim and knows that I'm competent.
Yes, indeed. Be kind to yourselves, everybody. Race leader coming into the pits. Jamie LeVay has brought the 444 in. Now, doesn't look like there's going to be a response from Clay Morris just yet. He's going to get ahead, but Stuart Ross and Robert Ridgway will join LeVay in the pit lane. Who is going to get the quickest pit stop time out of all of them? 4.3 seconds for Jamie LeVay. Stuart Ross just bringing himself into the box now. And that's a 4.2 second stop for him. He comes out just ahead of Robert Ridgway. I think this battle's going to continue for some time.
Yeah, I definitely love it when you get a battle on a pit exit. Certainly, you've really got to make sure you're on point with that pit speed limit. As you see Nikardembev now coming in, are we going to see him move that into turn 1? Absolutely. Nikardembev makes his way up past Robert Ridgway. Now, Ridgway, he's going to be just fresh out of the pits. Obviously, the car's going to feel very slightly different, but is he going to be able to fight back and find his way back up to P4?
Yeah, been a tough one for Nikardembev there. 5.3 second stop. That's the slowest of the race so far. So evidently putting a bit too much fuel in the car. That's cost him at least one position here. Should be ahead of Ross on corrected order if that pit stop went the way he wanted it to. But now we're just left with the championship leader out there yet to take his pit stop. Still got 4 laps to go in this race. 16 laps for race 3 versus 10 for races 1 and 2, and this is the closest battle on track at the moment.
Yeah, let's keep an eye here on the Cardinal Bev right now, because it looks like the action is indeed happening a little bit behind Stuart Ross there. As you see, Ridgeway starting to provide even more pressure to the back of the 230 machine. Now, the Cardinal Bev, he's potent, he's polite, but he's definitely had a bit of a rough evening this evening. Are we going to see Ridgeway make his way by? There's also a battle happening further back as well between Clovis Gerard and Tyler Scribe for P15.
Clay Morris has taken his pit stop, but he overshot his box. He had to reverse back into it. He has lost the lead again to Jamie LeVay. So this is really significant here for Clay Morris. He would have built up an advantage by potentially overcutting LeVay, but now the gap is right back to where it was, and we only have 4 laps to go.
Yeah, he's going to need a little bit more than a miracle to try and pull that one off. LeVay is definitely a potent driver. As let's go back here to very quickly to Nick Cardenbev and Ridgeway. These guys are indeed getting the battle back on, ladies and gentlemen. 3 temps, 4 temps. It did drop down to 2 temps, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed the battle is on for P4.
Yeah, there's Nicarden Bev slipping his way out of Villeneuve. And Robert Ridgeway will keep himself in the fight there. Maybe a bit too much AstroTurf on the exit of Tosa. It's going to be difficult for him to stay in the slipstream there. Problem for Keenan Harris, meanwhile. He's just towed back to the pits after falling through the order. Something went very wrong for the number 13, who started in 7th place for this one. So we'll see if he can get the car back out there before the end of the race. For now, it's on here for 4th between Nicarden, Bevan Ridgeway. Hardman and Ben Millett are also closing as well. And Tyler Scaralli and Clovis Gerard are fighting over 14th and 15th, the last running positions on the track.
Certainly, and it's good to see battles happening throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen. That, for me, that's why I like to go racing. Certainly, it's not necessarily about winning. Don't get me wrong, that's really nice, but I go in, my biggest expectation is I want to have somebody to challenge me and, you know, to battle with, and that's exactly what we got here throughout the field. You can see Nicarden, Bevan Ridgeway going at it. You got Scaralli and Gerard going at it, and I think Bembelet and Broomhead are going to be going at it as well very shortly. Andrew Hartman as well getting in the battle. There is multiple battles happening throughout, and certainly, as we look forward to the other season starting over in the fall, BiS Radical Canada Cup, the Radical Academy, and indeed the BiS F1600 Championship, you're going to see even more battles here on Pit Road Productions.
Ridgeway laser focused here as he sees a potential P4 still in his grasp. You can see there's a fair amount of suspension travel in the F3, but the curbs really do a number on the suspension. Fortunately, curbs like that one at the exit of Tosa are nice and flat, so you can use them as much as you like. But through Tamburello and Villeneuve, man, you got to be so careful. Also down to Acqua Minerale, just coming through Rivazza there, and this is the entry at Acqua Minerale as you dive down the hill. A kink on the way in, get on the brakes, and then try your best to slow it up for the right-hander. Ridgeway losing it just a little bit there, right on the edge.
Yeah, certainly that is probably the most challenging part of the track, I would say. Certainly, it depends on the driver. I always personally struggled with that chicane. You've really got to push it onto the curbs. Don't get me wrong, you can't be too greedy with them, but certainly you need to use the curbs to get the optimum pace out of the car. And certainly some of the drivers here have definitely flirted with that off-track limit a little bit too much. We have seen some black flags pop up earlier on in the evening. Are we going to see a few more as we got 16 laps this time round?
Yep, 2 to go for Jamie LeVay at the front of the field, on course to break Clay Morris's victory streak in the BiS F3 Championship, but we won't call anything conclusively until it is over. Nicarden, Bev and Ridgeway still reasonably close, but I get the feeling that Ridgeway might start losing a little more time here to Assad. Actually, it looks like Assad Nicardenbev actually just set his race personal best on that last lap. It has been a rough one. Oh dear. Okay, forget what I said. Anything. Ridgeway gonna get up the inside of Nicardenbev after a poor run out of Villeneuve. Again, the curbs bite.
Yeah, you see Ridgeway straight on the defensive look. He knows exactly which line he wants Nicarden Bev to take, and is very duly placed that car appropriately. So there's going to be no going too wide through there as they make their way down towards Acqua Minerale. This is probably one of the toughest parts of the track. You need to get that car slowed down, try and move the weight on the nose, and not get over rotation as you go up the hill. Beautiful elevation changes there. Are we going to see Nicarden Bev try and make a move there through the chicane? Certainly, it is possible, but it's a little bit of a higher risk strategy there as to go down over the curbs.
Absolutely. Well, It looks like Nakadambev has the car stabilized once again, but he's going to have to try and build something up here for a run on the final lap of the race. Jamie LeVay is going to take the white flag and begin the final lap here. Clay Morris has made up some really good good pace. As Stuart Ross is back in the pits again. Is that a black flag? It is.
Yep. Damn it. Unlucky there.
Man, too many off tracks. That's the second time tonight that he's gotten an iRacing black flag there. He is going to stop in the lane for that. But, Broomhead's in too.
Yeah, well,
no black flag for Broomhead.
He had that incident lap 1, so he had to pit early, repair the damage, and didn't quite have enough room in the tank to be able to make it all the way through. So that makes sense. But certainly, I think the FIA would definitely be happy to see track limits being enforced.
Yeah, for sure. Imola tends to encourage you to flirt with the track limits a bit, and you can certainly monster every curb around the track in a GT3 car, for example, but in these F3s you do have to be a bit more careful. Clay Morris has brought the gap down by about a second since he came out of the pits, about a second and a half, but it looks like it hasn't been enough. So Jamie LeVay putting his car in exactly the right place when he needed to is going to finally be the first race winner of the BiS F3 Championship that isn't Clay Morris. Across the line for the number 444, and that's position number 1 for Jamie LeVay.
Definitely a hard-earned position there, able to get it up there and be able to take that winning streak away from Clay Morris. But I do kind of want to check in a little bit further back here. So it looks like we've got a freeway fight going on here between the Nakadambev, Ridgway, and Hardman as they're making their way down towards the start-finish. It looks like they've run out of real estate. I think another lap or two would have maybe seen a different result there. Hardman up 4 positions, Clay Morris up 8. Actually, Alex McLean up 7 positions. He's had a good race in this feature race as well. And currently about a second behind Ozzy Milwain, battling for P8.
Last battle on track here. Tyler Scarali got past Clovis Girard earlier in the lap, and so Tyler will find his way to the line there. Bit of slipstream being picked up by Girard, though. That's slow for Scarali. Girard's going to get back by. I wonder if that might have been a position redress from Scarali. I didn't see how he got by Girard. It was look, it was a fair pass from Scarali. There was no incident. I think he might have run out of fuel on the way to the line.
We're going to have to see a replay of that. Let's find out exactly what happened to Scarali here. We got to give a point to Lima Racing as well for the absolutely hilarious cameo appearance they made at the end of the last one. Yeah, Scarali's definitely off the gas there.
Yeah, well, looks like angling more towards the inside there for Clovis Girard, and that made it ultimately about 0.02 of a second in it for position number 12. Let's keep an eye on this and see if the car actually ran out of fuel. Is it coughing, or did he just?
I heard a cough.
Yeah. Okay. So he did run out of fuel. Oh man, that's a shame for Scarali.
It wasn't much of a cough, but I do believe he ran out.
Well, just ever so slight. That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we should probably do the results here while these drivers get ready to come over for an interview. For the main feature race here today, we can have mix it up a little bit here. The 444 Jamie LeVay was able to take the race win with Clay Morris in second. Asad Nakadambev able to hold on to third place with Robert Ridgway in fourth. Good result here for him, with Andrew Harmon taking fifth. John Bemberlet for Lima Racing takes sixth, with Connor Klubine in seventh. Austin Milwain, Ozzy Milwain, take your pick, ladies and gentlemen. He's there in P8 with Alex McLean in P9. Nicholas Calander closing out your top 10.
Good gain again from the number 5. Cedric O'Hyan finishes where he started in 11th. Same for Clovis Girard, with a very close gap between himself and Tyler Scarali. Michael Broomhead, the last finisher on the lead lap after having to pit again on the final lap. Stuart Ross, a lap down, and Unfortunately, we saw retirements from Keenan Harris and Harlan Goulbourne. Eric Fenson did not take to the start in this final race. A real shame for him. But it is time for interviews here, Zippy. As I understand, you've caught up with Asad Nikardenbev.
Well, Assad, I got to say, definitely a mixed evening of racing for you. Certainly, you got involved in a few incidents earlier on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to keep it clean. There was some like for example in race one there was the incident with Eric. It was hard racing in my opinion. I think we both charged it into the corner. We didn't give up. None of us gave up the corner, which is I think how that's why that result ended up. And then in race two, we also had coming together with Eric. I think I'm gonna be honest. I looked at after, especially in the bus stop. I looked at the or not the bus stop, but the chicane. There was lots of netcode with his contact in mine, and I think that probably that probably made a big role in all like for all that to go down. But yeah, other than that, I think it was just us really pushing each other to our limit. And no, yeah, it was hard racing to both for both of the races, for all three of the races actually.
Well, certainly there may indeed have been a grudge match emerged there. Eric Fenson was not the victory on this occasion, but Assad able to get a P3 in the final race. A huge well done. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out for today's performance?
I'd like to thank my parents, my sponsors, Performance Racing School and 45 Motorsports, and I would like to thank all the drivers here for the great racing that we had this today, and especially I would like to thank Robert. He was great racing with great racing.
Well, certainly some very happy races here indeed. And Assad Nakanobev, one of the BIS regulars, ladies and gentlemen, he's been around here for a while. We're going to congratulate him and certainly wish him the best of luck in his. Where are you heading to next for your go karts there, Assad?
I have a big what is it? It's called a night. It's called the Saturday Night Shootout. It's a night race, and it's gonna be with prize money and all that. It's one of the most prestigious races of the season. And after that, I'm gonna start some car racing. I'm gonna be racing a Spec Racer Ford in
Oh,
some tracks, yeah, in the west
Nice.
coast of the U.S. So it'll be fun to see
oh.
that. And then I'll also have some national race. I'll have my first senior race in karting, a senior class of racing. So with some of the bigger guys this time.
Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to have to delete this later, but in a very short while, I'm actually going to identify as Assad Nakanobev just so I can drive that Spec Racer Ford. Like that's it's on my bucket list of things to do. So Assad, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to. You're definitely a little bit more of a slender man than I am. That's okay. But the good news is I will represent you well. Certainly, congratulations to you on that, and definitely make sure you get plenty of video footage for me in that as well. I'd love to see your journey. But Assad, we are going to leave you to it for now. Congratulations on getting that P3, and we do wish you the best of luck in your real life racing endeavors.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for the great broadcast, and thank you for you, Daniel, Christian, and Reese. Thank you so much.
Well,
Awesome
ladies and
stuff from
gentlemen.
Asad Nikardenbev there. And, well, I understand, Zippy, that we've also had a chance to catch up to Clay Morris. I'm going to take this one. The number 48, crossing the line in second for the first time this season, Clay. It looked like it was a bit hard to get through the field there in race 3.
Yeah, it was really tough race start. With how tight this track is and how difficult the corners are, there were some pretty big checkups on the first lap that I wasn't completely expecting, so maybe some opportunities that wasn't able to take, but it was a very fun race and Jamie was wicked fast. Couldn't catch up to him.
Well, honestly, it's not a patch on the rest of the season here for you. You still have the best winning record out of any driver in the field, winning all races but one. So things are still looking good for you coming into the next round of the championship at Mount Panorama. Now, Bathurst is obviously a difficult track at the best of times, so I think everyone's going to have to put in some extra mileage for that one.
Yeah, it's a track I've always struggled with, even relative to people similar to my skill level. I'm usually a little bit off there, so we'll see what kind of pace I'm able to get and see how the racing is.
Well, finally making your way through Imola, I suppose the track temperature also played a big part in the exploits today. It really raised in race 3. Did you find that the car was a bit more understeery in those conditions?
I wouldn't say understeery. I was getting set into a lot of four-wheel slides. I think I had the biggest pace advantage in cold weather. So with that hot track, I found it very difficult to maintain the same pace as I did in the first two races. And I think this is part of the reason why I struggled so much to catch, but Jamie just had the speed that I wasn't able to catch up to.
Well, we'll see how hot the track temperature is when we come down to Australia for the next round of the series in 2 weeks' time. Clay, anyone you want to thank for your performances today?
I just got to thank Mike, like always, for running such a good series and for making the livery. I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but very nice livery made by Mike. So thank you for that.
Yeah, very nice looking car indeed. Thanks for joining us, Clay. See you next round.
Yeah, see ya. Thank you.
Clay Morris will leave the booth, and Jamie LeVay will join us, Zippy, here for the first time this season as a race winner.
Hello.
Well, I gotta say, Jamie, it's good to have you here back in the booth. Certainly, very potent in the IndyCar. Tell us a little bit about how it's been switching over to this Formula 3.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a different beast to drive. It's still a downforce car, obviously, lots of grip, lots of downforce, bit less mass. You can toss it around a bit easier. It's a bit harder to overheat the tires. But it's a bit more of a momentum car, I find. So you really have to change the driving style a little bit to really prioritize the corner exits and be super clean. That last bit of lap time, you got to be super, super clean to extract it.
Well, certainly, you're definitely a lot more potent driver than myself behind the wheel of an open wheel car. But tell us a little bit as well. You've been having a great teamwork here with Andrew Hartman in the number 3 car. Is there any team orders as well, perhaps? Or is it you guys just, is it an all out brawl? Tell us a little bit about that dynamic.
Yeah, no, Andrew's a great guy and a great driver and a good teammate. No, we spend a bit of time before each race practicing, and it's good to have someone at a time to gauge yourself against. And he and I are typically pretty close, pretty competitive outside of these races with each other. But when we get here, it's keeping it clean with each other, at least pushing each other for sure. But no team orders per se. We just want to each help each other get the best result possible, and ideally each we do want to finish ahead of the other. That's still the case, but no, working coordinated through the field for sure.
Well, it certainly is indeed. You guys are pretty similarly paced as well. So certainly, I do think there is potential for a bit of team orders, not necessarily against each other, but maybe against the rest of the field. Certainly, it's hard to pass one car. It's even harder to pass two, and that is something that I do wonder. I'm thinking of maybe Carlos Sainz back when he was at Ferrari, or it might have been Ferrari, it might have been McLaren. Forgive me. I think it was Ferrari, ladies and gentlemen, where he was very deliberately almost slowing up the guy in the middle so Carlos Sainz can keep with the DRS. And don't get me wrong, we don't have DRS here in the Formula 3, but definitely I do wonder if there is maybe some strategies to be extracted. But Jamie, it's great to see you here back on the top step of the podium, able to beat Clay Morris in the Formula 3. That's going to be a T-shirt. Not too many people have will be able to get a copy of. So definitely a little bit of friendly banter to play with there. And I do have to wonder if you can do it again here as we head to Australia for the next round.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely Clay's been on fire all season, as we know. I think this is the first single heat or race he hasn't won yet this year, so it does feel good to steal one from him. It took some help from the grid inversion for sure, thanks to my mistakes in the first couple races. I benefited from that, so was able to keep it ahead, be consistent, kind of conserve the tires for the end of the race a bit. But no, it takes all we can get, and as you say, the teamwork there. If we can maybe need a bit of that to beat Clay this year, whenever we can. Australia is going to be a challenge, just like Imola. There's lots of danger kind of hiding just beyond the limits a little bit if you try and push it a bit too hard. Some very unforgiving sections there, like I found tonight. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a very different track from what we've done. It's a super commitment, very fun track to drive as a driver and race on it. Typically creates pretty good racing. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely, indeed. We're looking forward. We're looking forward to it here over on Pit Road Production as well. But ladies and gentlemen, your feature winner, Mr. Jamie LeVay, in the 444 for MTC Motorsports.
Fantastic for Jamie to finally break Clay Morris's winning streak this season, Zippy. And, well, I guess that's going to call it the end of the show for us here on Pit Road Productions. But, of course, we're going to be going racing again here for BiS F3 in 2 weeks. Time at the mountain. Oh, it's going to be a rough one, and I'm looking forward to helping you bring it to the people.
Yeah, certainly. If there's ever going to be a circuit we would potentially lose Reese Gardner for, that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Reese Gardner, very potent at Bathurst. So I would say it's his home track. It's about, what was it, 4 hours away, 8 hours away? It's a ways away.
By plane, yes.
Yeah, Australia's a lot bigger than you may believe, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to him. Reese Gardner, one of the finest members of there. Certainly, fair play to him. But that is going to wrap it up here on Pit Road Productions. If you want to see more, 2 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen, September the 3rd, we'll be back with the BiS Formula 3 Championship. But for now, that's it for me. My name is, and I guess always will be, Daniel Zippy Salmon. And joining me in the booth today, Reese Gardner, the Southpaw racer himself. And at the production controls, the one and only Mr. Christian Hill. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again real soon.